No, it's okay. So, alright. I have been reading Spider. I'm not going to call it So I'm a Spider, So What. I might call it Kumodesu. Because that's kind of what I'm used to calling it. As I've probably mentioned to you before, the chapters are kind of weird. So I'm just going to talk about protagonist number 1, which is Kumiko. And then I'm going to talk about protagonist number 2, which is Shun. Even though the chapters bounce between protagonist number 1 and protagonist number 2, between chapters, I'm just going to talk about one, and then I'm going to talk about the other. So, I do... You know. You kind of know. I have knowledge of what happens because of the anime. The anime, as far as I'm aware, the anime covers the first 5 books. So the anime is like 24, 26 episodes. And
That's impressive.
And it covers 5 books, yeah.
Because when you were talking about Slime, when I was watching it for the first time, you were like, the first season covers like
3.5.
3.5. And I'm like, if this is 5, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they cram it in there, yeah. I imagine they cut out a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, with book 1, it starts off with a prologue that's a little bit different, that kind of teases events that you do learn about later in the anime. So I'm imagining you learn them later in the book as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it does start off with, here's a classroom, here's a demon lord and a hero, and they fought, and an explosion happened because of their fight, and for some reason, it blows up a Japanese high school classroom, and all 31 members of the classroom die and end up reincarnated in the fantasy world.
I don't know if this is spoilers, but like 31 main characters, sort of.
So, chapter 1 starts off just as the anime does. It literally does the egg in the middle of a sea of eggs, and then she hatches, and then all of her brothers and sisters hatch as well.
Gross.
And it's horrible.
Why?
Holy crap, I cannot imagine reincarnated into a sea of spiders.
Not at all. I would kill myself right then and there. Somehow.
God, no, I can't. Oh,
I already
man.
hate those videos of people poking spider nests and then it just explodes into... It's gross. It's so gross.
Oh my god, no. No, please,
No.
No, it has to be so much worse from her point of view. From like busting out of the egg, being surrounded, realizing her herself as a spider, seeing Mama looming over her as
The
this
picture?
giant, yeah. Future Brownie can put up the picture there.
Insert a picture, a representation of how you feel I look at that in like some corner for
No.
meme's sake.
Oh, it's so bad. She's quick on the uptake. Like I do appreciate that isekai has become such a big genre that even protagonists within isekai genres are like, oh crap, I got isekai'd.
Yeah.
How does this work? Does it work like generic fantasy setting where my stats are measured by numerical values and I have skill points and skills that I can level? Yes, you can. So she hops right on that. She gets herself an appraisal skill, which sucks. It's fantastic. I love it when she tries to scan the wall and a rock, and it just tells her wall and rock.
Pretty simple.
Oh, man. As she continues to run away from the situation that she was born into, she runs into just this pit of monsters. And she tries to use appraisal, and it just bombards her with information, and it just gives her a massive headache of just, I was like, there's a deer here, there's a deer here. And it just repeats that like 17 times.
I did
there's
notice that.
There's a wolf here, there's a wolf, it's like wolf, and it's like
Deer,
bat.
deer, bat, wolf. That's what it says.
And it's just a flood of information that just assaults her brain. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a migraine.
Yeah. She legs it. Mm-hmm. And that's when she discovers that her herself is a monster. Mm-hmm. Because as she runs away, she runs into one of her dead siblings that's been hacked apart by like a human. And it's like, oh, okay, got you. I was like, if a human being finds me, I'm going to die because I'm a monster. And then she compares herself to the footprints on the ground. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, God. I was like, these footprints I figured would be massive, but I'm clearly larger than them, meaning that I'm a 3-foot tall spider monster.
Also insinuating that she got reincarnated into a dungeon.
Yeah, she is in a cave of some sort. I don't know.
That's
well,
just
I do know, but
I mean, you do know, but as somebody as me who doesn't know, I'm assuming it's a dungeon.
yeah.
Because I've watched enough isekai to kind of...
I'm willing to give you some spoilers, but it's like there are some that I'm not going
that's
to.
fine.
So on to Kumiko's second chapter. She's always been a homebody. The first thing she wants to do is she wants to build a home.
Mm-hmm.
So she tries to like spin a web, and she's like, "Oh wow, it's like I've been oops, I've been shooting out web this whole time, probably out of fear. That's embarrassing." So like she balls it up and she makes herself a little home, and then she's like, "Oh wow, this was actually really tiring. Holy crap." And she looks at her stamina and she's got like no stamina.
Jeez.
And it's
does it build over time? Is it one of those?
she levels. She levels, and number go up, number get big, so that she can do more stuff. Though I don't know if it's mentioned in book 1, or I don't know if they will mention in book 1 what the red bar means. So there's like, she has a green bar for health, she has a blue bar for mana, she has a yellow bar for stamina, and she has a red bar that also says stamina. And she's like, why do I have 2 stamina bars?
Probably some like other form, maybe?
Yes, it is a different form of stamina that will be
Introduced
later.
That was just a wild guess. Good
Yeah.
me.
There you go. Good you. You've played a video game before.
I've played
perhaps
video
even
games.
2. Maybe.
More than 2.
No, it's oh man, it's just one of those brutal things where she is constantly gonna get the short end of the stick. She is absolutely playing this reincarnation in hard mode, and that gets kind of nailed down by the fact that she eventually, after she's been tired for a little while, she bags a frog in her webbing, and it's struggling, and she's like, I should probably go kill this thing and eat it because I need lunch.
Yeah.
And then immediately he just nails her in the face with acid, and she's like, ow, 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 my eye. And then that's when part of her vision goes. And she's like, okay, well, since I don't have 2 eyes, I have 8. Only part of my vision's gone, but this still sucks. This hurts like hell. That's like, you need to go down. So since he's stuck, she like flanks around to his backside where he can't do anything. She sinks her teeth into him, and he dies of the poison. And then she's like, okay, cool, finally, he's dead. I was hoping that I defeated an enemy and I'd get some experience and I'd level up or something. I guess that's not the case. So she bites down into him and she starts eating him. And she's like, this is awful. 1, it tastes bad. 2, it hurts. It actually hurts. And then as she's thinking this, she gets the proc for increase acid resistance, increase poison resistance.
Fascinating.
And it's, ooh. And it just goes to show, it's like, okay, well, fantastic. I can gain skills through other means than spending my skill points.
Right.
I started off with 100 skill points, and I spent them on appraisal, and it feels useless because all it does is give me useless information, and it gives me a headache, and probably the fact that it says appraisal level 1 tells me that it'll get better when it levels up.
Yeah.
And so that's it for Kumiko's first 2 chapters. We're going to go over to Shun for a moment, for the last 2 that I read. And he is the complete other side of the coin. It's really funny how kind of generic Shun is. He's like, oh, he's a 15-year-old who gets isekai'd and he knows video games, so he kind of knows what's going on, and he's always wanted to be the hero, so, he wants, he gets reborn so he can use light magic and all this stuff. But before that happens, it actually does show what he's like in school. So I'm going to call him Shun because everybody else calls him Shun. But his full name is Shunsuke Yamada. And when he gets reincarnated, I believe is Shlaine Zagant Analeit, I believe.
That's a hell of a name.
Because I believe he's in the Analeit country which is named after their king, which is his father. Because of course he gets reincarnated into a prince.
Right. God must have favored him the most.
So what ends up happening is when we get introduced to Shun, he's just this sleepy 15-year-old boy going to high school. He plays video games and sports with his friends. He stays up way too late playing video games because he got a chance to play with the local e-celebrity, which they aptly named Baldy. And that's hilarious because you learn in Kumiko's chapter that that's her. So she has an online personality. She has an online character called Skanda, I believe is her in-game username. Mm-hmm. And she has the appearance of a bald old man. All she does is she runs around with maxed agility and max attack power. No defense, no health. And guess what she got reincarnated as? A tiny spider that's hard to hit, that would take a lot of damage if it was hit, but it uses hit and run tactics by poisoning things and running away.
Yeah. Can you imagine this kid? Like, also, me, technically in high school, but I was homeschooled. Still me, though. I was sleeping a lot. I could sleep a lot at home. Imagine being this kid in school, like during school, just in the back sleeping, his head and arms on his desk, just sleeping away, and then all of a sudden, kaboom! We're all dead.
That's basically what happens. Because it says so in the epilogue that it's like, okay, well, the classroom got lit up. We don't know how. We don't know why. We kind of know that it was a hero and a demon lord, but it's like, why did it blow up a classroom? Find out later. I do know the answer to that question. So, other than Shun's basic backstory, that exact thing happens. He struggles to stay awake in class. He finally makes it to his last class, which is classical Japanese literature. He's just kind of like weaving in and out of consciousness. He kind of like looks down at his desk, looks back up. What's the teacher saying? Oh God, I can't pay attention to what the teacher's saying. Looks back down, looks back up. Oh, she called on like the class mean girl. And it's like, oh, well, I don't know the answer to this question, because of course she doesn't. And then he looks over and he sees the class shy girl already sleeping on her desk, taunting him with her good rest. And he's like, I should do the same thing. As his head rocks up and he sees a crack in space-time that grows by the moment. And as he finally reaches the thought, what's that? It consumes his earthly flesh and everybody else in the classroom, and everybody dies. Everybody gets reincarnated. So, we then pop back into everybody getting reincarnated, but specifically Shun. Shun, tiny baby, with a mind of a 15-year-old. And that's got to be weird. It's kind of the reborn isekai thing. We saw it happen to Rudy in Mushoku Tensei.
I was literally about to say it's kind of like Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah.
Except he's
less creepy.
He's less creepy.
Shun is significantly less creepy. I would say he's less cringe, but I don't know if I can stick by those words. He notices he has a baby sister. Her name is Sue. She turns into a giant yandere. We'll get back to that.
Yikes.
But he wants to be cool. He thinks to himself, it's like, holy crap, I'm a baby. There's a lady looming over me, speaking a language I don't understand. I have no control over my body because I'm a baby. He needs to be strong, though. He's like, I got a baby sister now. I got to be cool guy. Somebody's going to look up to me because it's like, I'm older brother. He kind of goes through his childhood with that mentality. That's like, I'm going to practice the sword. I'm going to practice my magic. I got to make sure I'm in shape. I got to make sure I'm doing good on my studies. It's clear that I'm part of the royal family and mediocrity is not acceptable within royalty. Right. So I got to bust my ass. He does this. He does this until he's... I don't remember what the debut ceremony said he was. I think he was about 13 to 15. So I'm going to say about there. Mm-hmm. He does the ceremony. He walks into this grand hall. a bunch of important people are there. His father holds the level 10 appraisal stone, and he scans his son, and it's just like, oh, well, it's like, my son is now, he's currently level 1, and he has this much HP and MP, and he has all these skills, and he has 100,000 skill points. And it's just like everybody just loses their marbles. So it's like, oh my god, that's like he's a prodigy. It was like he's just like the Duke's daughter. And then that catches his attention because he's like, okay, well, who's the Duke's daughter if she's like me? And then in the after ceremony, like everybody's abuzz. I was like, it's like the Duke's daughter. It's like she has crazy stats. Oh, did you see the prince? Did you see Shunsuke? No, they don't call him Shunsuke. They call him Schlain. And I was like, did you see Prince Schlain? I was like, his stats are crazy. I was like, even his little sister, because his little sister tried to copy him throughout his childhood, and her stats are pretty reasonable.
I would like to attempt to say the last two parts of this name. You've already said Schlain, so, I mean, that's kind of a giveaway. Schlain Zagan Analate.
Schlain Zagat Analea, I believe is how the...
Analea?
I believe is how the anime pronounced it. I could be wrong.
Analea.
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 Question mark? I'm not 100% sure. So, that all happens. They go to the after party. The only thing on Shun's mind, I was like, I have to find the Duke's daughter. That's like, I need to see what she's like, if she's like me. And guess what? She is. He finds her. He says hello in local tongue, but he also sneaks in the little hello in Japanese. She reacts to it. He's like, and she's like, yeah. And it's like, hold on, we gotta talk. And he pulls her away into a private room. There's always private rooms at like royal venues. It's described because it's like, oh, well, since so many important people are there, people need to discuss politics and merchant trades and stuff like that. So it's like,
isn't that normal?
In what way?
Like royalty being like, good, my son doth take thine maiden into a private sector.
Yeah, maybe. So it is weird. Everybody was like, why is this happening? Mm-hmm. So he pulls the Duke's daughter over to the side. She introduces herself as Katya, and
there's a drag queen named Katya. I just wanted to put that. That's really funny to me.
That's fair. Okay. There's They then just immediately start conversing in Japanese. And it's just like, hey, so are you from Japan? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I know how to speak Japanese, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, does this high school sound familiar? I was like, yes, I went to that high school. And then I was here all of a sudden. I was like, same. When I was going to that high school, my name was Shunsuke Yamada. And then the Duke's daughter just loses her shit because it's like, that's not you at all, dude. Huh? And then he's like, what? What is this laugh? And I was like, I know who you are. Are you my best friend from childhood? And it's just like, yes. It's apparently his male best friend reincarnated as a lady.
I need them to fall in love.
Yeah.
I need them to fall in love now.
So I'm not going to spoil anything that happens with the relationship between these two.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, now that he's...
You'll like it, though.
Now that... I'm just saying, from an outsider's perspective, it's just... You can't help but look at it like, They have a good color dynamic, their
though.
best friend is now a woman.
A woman. Who doesn't want to smash bros, if you know what I'm talking about.
Kiss the homies.
No, I do like their... When it comes to the anime, I do like their color dynamic, because Shun has, like, this kind of short blue hair, where Katya has this long red hair. So they have, like, these nice contrasting colors.
The switch colors.
Anyway... That's basically where it leaves off. I mean, there's the little gag at the end where it's like they're laughing about how ridiculous their reincarnation situation is, and then they start crying because I was like, oh crap, this is very real. I'm never gonna see my family again. And that's immediately interrupted by Sue just busting down the door with a magical punch, turning full yandere. It was like, I heard my brother was in here with another woman! And then it's just like,
Yikes.
I don't want to be here right now. As Shun runs away, and then Kaneda speaks in perfect Japanese. I was like, your sister is terrifying, my guy. And so that's kind of like a running gag, where it's like they'll talk to each other in Japanese, and like everybody else will be like, I don't know what they're saying. They're just kids. Ha ha ha. No, so that's as far as I read. I'll read more later, etc. That's it.
Yeah.
The end.